Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I am Professor Amlan Dutta, associated with the Department of Metallurgical and Materials Engineering of IIT Kharagpur. I specialize in the domain of theoretical and computational material science. I have recently started this channel to share my thoughts and experiences concerning the stuff that I am passionate about. Here, most of the videos will pertain to topics like science and technology education, physics and mathematics, material science, which I do professionally, of course, then public policies on scientific research and higher education, and occasionally some other miscellaneous topics. As I am interested in computer programming also, I shall share some tutorial videos on programming. Needless to say, all the videos expressed on this channel are my own as a private person and are not on behalf of any other person, organization or institution. Today's video is in view of the fact that it is that time of the year again. Very soon, many young and new faces will be entering the higher educational institutions after finishing with their school education. In the initial phase of their higher education journey, I know that many students get into a zone of discomfort. They may have been very good students during their school days, but now they feel quite out of place. And they do realize that they are not at all prepared for this new way of life on the campus. So in this video, depending on my little experience as a teacher, I shall try my best to tell you how the things will look like once you start your higher education journey and why many aspects of this system have been created as they are. The idea here is that if you know exactly what to expect once you start as a first semester student, you won't feel shell shocked. Similarly, once you understand and know why some part of the academic system is created in a particular way, you will learn to accept and adapt to it rather than fight it. It will make your academic journey very smooth. Although most of what I will be discussing here is about the field of science and technology education, I believe several of the points I will be touching upon are equally relevant to other domains of academia. At the very outset, let me tell you that if you are a newcomer and find it difficult to cope with what is happening at the academic front, it is not essentially your fault. Because higher education is indeed very different from the school level way of teaching and learning, and this abrupt and drastic change is the reason for your confusion and that weird feeling. However, it will be your fault if you do not prepare yourself and adapt to these changed circumstances. Just like if you travel to Ladakh and find it very cold, it is not your fault as Ladakh is supposed to be cold. However, it will be your fault if you went there without warm and protective clothes and found yourself in trouble. So, as I said, there are many ways the higher education is different from the school education. And I am not, talking about the content of the curriculum. That is very different, obviously. What I mean is that the whole philosophy of higher education is very distinct from the school education. The goals are different and the approach is different. So it is no wonder that if you enter this field with the same mindset, academic attitude, and aptitude as your school days, you are in for a big shock. Also, what you learned in school and through your preparations for various entrance exams indeed form the foundation for further education at the university level. However, you are very much mistaken if you believe that your academic experience will merely be the extension of your school education, because it is not so. So you must just adjust your expectations accordingly. In school, you learn what is what. The university focuses on how we know what is what, or at least you are expected to question how we know that. In your school days, your curriculum was designed to impart a working knowledge of the fundamental and applied aspects of several key topics. If you were, let us say, a science student, you learned about the underlying principles and techniques of solving a good number of problems on those topics. As you move on to the university education, you realize that the breadth and depth of the curriculum are significantly much larger. Also, different courses or subjects have different flavors. Some courses require solving many exercise problems like you often did in school. Some courses are mathematical but more abstract, focusing on the detailed analytical derivations rather than the numerical problems. Some courses may have more qualitative contents rather than the rigorous analytical or numerical aspects. Some students do get that and can broaden their vision to encompass this large body of the academic content. However, many students also do the exact opposite. Instead of broadening their perspective, they refuse to move out of their comfort zone and try to squeeze this new academic horizon to fit into their narrow field of view, which is no doubt a futile exercise. The major problem here is that this change happens all of a sudden. It just hits you hard without any warning or time to brace for it. Of course, a good course instructor is expected to realize this and try to cushion this blow, but frankly speaking, there is a lot of material to be taught to a large class in a relatively short span of the semester. Also, some professors do not really realize that this sudden change of the academic ambience is a huge deal for the beginners. In my opinion, the situation is worse for the engineering students due to a paradoxical situation. On one hand, they have to prepare for the short answer or MCQ type problems to get admissions to their desired institutions. On the other hand, the competitive exams are so designed that the students are compelled to pick up learning habits opposite to what is required for higher education. On top of that, there are some misplaced expectations regarding the course instructions. This issue is more prominent in the institutions which enjoy a little reputation amongst the aspirants. They attend their very first class hoping that the professor will be some epitome of wisdom who will blow their mind away with a rock star performance. Sorry to burst your bubble, but no such thing is likely to happen. It is quite possible that half of the class will lose focus just after the first 20 minutes, feel numb after staring at the PPT slides and become restless. This creates disappointment in many students who are at ease with the teaching style in their schools or more likely their coaching classes. Unfortunately, I know that for many of them, this early impression has a long lasting effect of pessimism and loss of interest in the teaching learning activity, sometimes for the rest of their stay on the campus. Now, this brings us to the primary question: what to do in such a situation? Would you allow your academic experience to be ruined by such negative effects, or should you do something about it? Many students just give up without even trying to salvage the situation. They just learn the trick of clearing the exams through some shortcuts and marathon sessions a few days before the exams. It may work in some courses and not so well in others, but overall, sometimes they still manage to perform at least at an average level, on paper at least. Unfortunately, some students can't even do that. Neither can they learn anything from their curriculum, nor do they manage to even get the mediocre scores by hook or by crook. So, what do we do then? Well, the first thing has already been taken care of. I told you not to have unrealistic expectations. When you know what is coming for you, you are in a much better and prepared state of mind. Now, for any particular course, if you have a professor who is an expert at teaching and motivating, things will be very smooth. But if you have a course where the course instructor doesn't, let us say, fit into your preference of learning style, it is still possible to salvage the situation. Whether you like the teaching or not, you at least know the course content and would probably have access to the course material, that is the lecture notes and slides, etc. Also, you will come to know the recommended textbooks. There is absolutely no reason why you can't teach yourself. On top of everything, for any topic under the sun, ample reading and video material is available on the internet. If you don't like one, you can always switch to another one until you find something that satisfies your learning goals. And of course, nowadays you also have excellent AI tools. So there is really no excuse anymore. But still, what do you do when you can't figure out the point of a particular course or a particular topic? If there is an excellent teacher there, he or she will likely, explain its relevance. If you are on your own, you may be left wondering, hey, this looks very difficult and I don't even know why I am learning it. It looks quite irritating and boring, to be frank. Such thoughts are not unusual, and it is very difficult to proceed when you can't even comprehend why you have to study something. I suggest you start by thinking about it calmly and realize that whatever you are studying now did not fall from the sky. It was created by human beings, right? Every piece of information, every small piece of understanding is essentially the result of human activity. There must have been a time when this knowledge and understanding did not exist, and then someone created it. And that someone must have been pretty smart. After all, it takes extreme intelligence and perseverance to push the boundaries and create new knowledge and insights. So it can't be boring or unimportant. Maybe you cannot see why you are, learning it at this initial stage, but it certainly is not irrelevant. You can rest assured that whatever you are studying fits somewhere in the grand scheme of things. In the same way, there are few more questions that students often ask themselves. For instance, they often wonder why many things are taught that they are not likely to use in their career. Similarly, they often wonder what is the point of learning things when they are bound to forget them soon after their exams. Why are they made to learn so many formulae and derivations, schematics, and such things? These are valid questions, but I don't wish to digress too much today. I assure you that I will post another video addressing all these issues. There are reasons why the teaching learning system has evolved in a particular way, and once you understand those reasons, you can stop fighting everything, which is futile anyway, as I already told you. I am not saying that the system has evolved to perfection. Many of us professors also keep complaining about 100 aspects that need improvement. Nonetheless, not everything is pointless, as many students believe. As promised, I shall cover these aspects in more detail in a separate video. One major difficulty that many students face during their first year is the problem of mental blockage, which I believe results from fatigue. The students put in their hearts and souls for their 11th and 12th grades and grind for the entrance exams. During this period, many of them live practically like monks with utmost discipline. Let us assume that this hard work, bears fruit and they are able to bag the seat at a good institute. But the problem begins now. It turns out that due to the mental fatigue and burnout resulting from their school education, primarily their entrance exam preparations, they become completely impervious to new ideas and new ways of learning. I have no idea how prevalent this phenomenon is in medical schools or basic science programs, but we often witness this in the engineering students in India. The result is that their intellectual capacity to learn new things is diminished. I have already mentioned that college pedagogy is very different from school education, and picking up new learning habits, approaches, and mindsets often warrants unlearning the old habits. And this is something many students find very difficult. I'm not sure, but I guess this is because once you spend a lot of time preparing for the entrance exams, you learn and revise the same topics repeatedly and solve, who knows, maybe thousands of practice problems. It goes to your muscle memory and it becomes very difficult to unlearn it. I don't mean unlearning the things that you have studied. I am referring to unlearning the very approach to your education, your whole perspective. A student can not only become captive of his or her old habits, but can even try to defend them by convincing himself or herself that since the old way of learning things has served well so far, this must be the way to go ahead, and it is therefore the university education setup which must be wrong since it is trying to push the student out of the comfort zone. Something like the Stockholm syndrome, perhaps. In doing so, one conveniently forgets that the aim of school education or the entrance exam preparation is very different from the higher education. Earlier, the focus was on figuring out the correct answer to a ready-made question. That is all that mattered, right? But in university education, before figuring out the correct answer, it is sometimes more important to learn to ask the correct question and to observe how knowledge can literally be generated using the fascinating creativity of human mind. I believe that before you join an institute, you have got some time, around 2 months or so, to mentally prepare for this next phase of the academic journey. And you should make full use of this opportunity. Some students are too enthusiastic and wonder if it's a good idea to learn something before they join the institute. My request is that you please refrain from doing such a thing. Whatever time you have, use it to relax and unwind. Hang out with your friends, talk with your relatives, visit your cousins, indulge in some light hobby, watch movies and web series if you wish, but try to reduce your screen time. Too much of it often, damages your attention span. You can play some sport. You can also try to develop your reading habit a little bit, whatever you like, novels, other types of fiction or non-fiction maybe. There is one more thing that you can try out during this gap period before you come to your institute. You can explore the subject or field you are about to enter. Now, don't get me wrong, when I say explore the field, I don't mean learning anything technical. In fact, I just want you not to learn anything and just relax. What I am suggesting is knowing more about your field and, more importantly, realizing its role in furthering the human civilization. The best way to do this is by watching YouTube videos. No need to read up anything on the internet, just watch the videos. For instance, let us say you will take physics as your college major. Fine, watch a few videos on the history of physics and how it evolved into its current modern form. This can give some pointers. For example, you will know a bit about quantum mechanics in such a video. Fine, look up quantum mechanics now and you will find so many videos. Again, no technical stuff or lectures, just some simple, entertaining and intriguing overviews. Then you may see that YouTube is suggesting a video on, let us say, cosmology. So go for it. You don't have to understand everything. All you need is a feel of what this whole field is about. Similarly, suppose you will join an undergrad program of civil engineering. Fine, look up some videos on civil engineering. You will find that YouTube will now suggest some popular videos on, let's say, the construction of the largest dams on earth. Go for it and keep browsing and exploring. You will discover that some specific channels which produce phenomenal videos of the domains of your interest will be recommended. This is a privilege I did not have when I was your age. Internet was there, but it was not so cheap and easily accessible. Moreover, its content was also not even a tiny fraction of what you have now. So utilize it as much as possible. Don't go for those stupid videos created by random YouTubers, those clickbait videos like the dark side of so and so. Don't fall for them. Most of them are created by losers anyway. There are excellent high quality videos from all over the world with outstanding content, animations and whatnot. A great advantage of having exposure to such content is that once you watch a few of those videos, you will get hooked on it and you will find them immensely inspiring. You will realize that you don't really need a teacher to motivate you to study something. You will already know, or at least be able to guess, why any particular topic is important, and you will have a better appreciation for it. Another thing you can do is looking up your program's curriculum, just the subjects that you will have to learn in various semesters. You should find it on the website of your institute, and even if it is not there, you can just check the courses for the same stream on the websites of other institutes as well. They are more or less similar everywhere. Then you can look up what they are. Suppose you are going to be admitted to a mechanical engineering program, you can check the website and you can find a course like, say, computational fluid dynamics. Very well, look up computational fluid dynamics on YouTube and watch how an entirely new world unfolds before your eyes. There is no need to go into the technical details. Just watch what the experts can do with it. And I can assure you that you will be absolutely smitten by it. Basically, what I am suggesting is that you chill out as much as possible before you join your institute. Once you are there, you have to balance the curricular and extracurricular activities with more emphasis on the former. Once you have started your higher education journey, there are a few things that you must invest your time in, especially during the first 2 semesters. First, you need to seriously consider improving your communication skills. So many students underestimate the importance of this aspect, which can severely impact their careers. In this context, you must focus separately on developing your verbal and written communication skills. Here at IIT, I have seen that while many students have pretty decent verbal communication skills, their written communication remains inadequate, which can cause difficulty in their future careers. And when I refer to communication skills, I put more emphasis on English communication, especially when you are in some kind of scientific or technical program. Now, in every reputed institute, the medium of instruction is more likely to be English. If you are looking for a job or going for higher education, you can face many hurdles if your English communication is poor. I'll try to make a video giving tips on improving your written and oral communication skills, but for now, you can try two simple things. Make a habit of learning things not from the slides given by your teacher but from the textbooks. While you do so, carefully notice the language and the way of writing. Notice how the idea is expressed through the words, how various assumptions are clearly specified, and how the flow of logic is clearly illustrated. By making it a habit of reading books, you will subconsciously train your mind in the written form of technical communication, a very important skill for your career, as I shall elaborate in a dedicated video later. Similarly, for verbal communication in English, watch many English videos, preferably with subtitles. It can be anything, some news channel, Hollywood movies, or even classroom lectures. In fact, MIT has excellent classroom lectures under the OCW program. They are available on YouTube and you can turn on the subtitles. If you now watch a lot of such videos, whatever you like, you will eventually get accustomed to the spoken form of the language and the psychological barrier will break. One particular step that will be immensely beneficial to you if you are a student of physical sciences or engineering is laying special emphasis on deeply understanding mathematics. No matter where you are studying, you will have higher mathematics in your curriculum. And trust me, gaining some fluency and understanding of that will make your academic life much easier. Bear in mind that university level maths is quite different from your maths in school and in your entrance exam preparations. You will be introduced to what we call the proof-based maths. For undergraduate physical or engineering science courses, you will mostly deal with applied maths and the rigor will be a little less than what is there in pure maths. But still, it is very different from school. Here the focus is not on quickly finding the answer to a question, but on developing the ability to think and connect the dots somewhat abstractly. So be mentally prepared for it. I intend to post some videos on how to approach the subject of mathematics and also on several selected topic of maths maybe, which may be of more technical nature of course. In addition to mathematics, you must also invest some time to attain fluency in programming during the first year. No matter your stream, you are at a great disadvantage if you do not have even the minimum proficiency in programming. Most undergrad programs in Indian colleges have some kind of programming course in the first year, usually C or C++. Whatever it is, try your best to actually understand it and it will require some amount of practice. If you only read some material or watch videos, you can't learn it. You must put in some effort to do it yourself. Finally, I will touch upon something which has gained immense significance recently. Once you are in an institute of higher learning, you may try to explore various things to figure out what you like and to chalk up the plans for your career. Here at IIT, we often see that some students want to go into software development, some like consultancy and management, some prefer finance, several like core engineering career, and a few go for higher studies like masters or PhD. Exploring various options is perfectly fine, but do not overdo it. You cannot take 3 years just to find out what you like, because if you do that, you won't have much time left to prepare yourself. Please do not oscillate between this and that. Make up your mind by the end of the 4th semester at the latest. Think as much as you want before that, but once you have decided, stick to it. And while exploring your options, be very mindful of a big revolution that is happening, which is the drastic rise of AI. AI is a disruptive technology and it seems that it will affect the careers of many professionals in the near future. For instance, many students sharpen their skills in computer programming, algorithms, web development, etc. However, AI tools are quickly becoming very competent at those kinds of tasks, and industry insiders predict a significant reduction in demand for professionals in such domains. There is some controversy, and some people maintain that such a thing may not even happen, and that AI will just act as a tool to help professionals and not as their replacements. I do not know what will happen, but it looks like nobody does either. Over the last few years, I have been hearing news of various companies laying off people as their jobs are being done by AI agents. Frankly speaking, I have tried AI tools to create software myself, and they are really good. And this improvement in their performance has happened just over the last 1 or 2 years. It's an unbelievable advancement. Now, if you are a first year student, imagine the scenario when you will be graduating after 4 years. And it is not only software development, many spheres like data analytics, HR and consultancy, they are all exposed to the advent of AI. And this is not unheard of. There have been several such instances throughout the history. For example, once electricity was invented, many candle makers went out of business and the lamplighters lost their jobs. Automatic telephone exchange caused the jobs of telephone operators to become almost extinct. Desktop publishing displaced the jobs of typesetters. So when you plan to pick up a specific career, ask yourself whether your plan is future proof. People say that one should always keep upskilling continuously, but it is easier said than done for most people. As one grows older, particularly in corporate jobs, it becomes increasingly difficult to unlearn and relearn at a fast pace. Nowadays, it has become a common scene in the corporate world that once a young recruit has performed well and gained good experience, but is now showing signs of saturation, he or she is promoted and made the manager. And once the manager's salary has increased to the point where he looks like a liability to the employer, he is swiftly shown the door. Lately, I have been observing a worrisome trend of frequent firing of middle level managers. So, the dynamics of the employment market has shifted significantly compared to a decade ago. Now, if someone is in a business where technology and trends change very fast, having experience is useless because experience with old technology is not always transferable to new ones. And as I said, it becomes difficult to remain updated in a hands-on manner beyond a certain age. At some point, it becomes apparent that it is a good business decision to recruit three new resources rather than paying an exorbitant salary to the old guy who doesn't have much to give. This is certainly not true for every profession, but it is for some. So one must be very careful about selecting his or her career path. Instead of wasting your time on Facebook, I recommend joining a professional network like LinkedIn in the beginning, in your first year itself. You will have a pulse on what is happening around you. Well, I think I have preached enough. Whatever I have said is based on my own observations and ideas, but I suggest that you consider them before you start the new phase of your life, that is the phase of higher education. I do hope that this little effort of mine can help you prepare yourself before you join your new institution and during the initial stage of your undergrad program. In this video, I have discussed a few aspects, some of which may require further elaboration, and I hope that I will be able to upload more videos on those topics. So it is time for me to wrap up this video, and I wish you all a very bright and fulfilling future ahead. Goodbye.